I got Jalen Hurts too. Even with the turnovers, I got him too. I think the last month, he's riding the ship. And I think the guy playing the best quarterback of anybody in the league right now is Lamar Jackson. I think he's just been sensational. I saw that Dirty D trying to cover for Michigan because that's the only thing they have. Tone says very strong list. I got Lamar number 1. I got Hurts 2. Mahomes 3. Burrow 4. Allen 5. Dak 6. Goff 7. Trevor Lawrence 8. Tua 9. And Justin Herbert. Those are my. Now here, I want to show you something else before we bring my boy Philly.500 in. So I had some people in Atlantic City and Vegas ask me a question to put a list together for the MVP race. And I did. And here's who I put down for my top 10. I want Philly.500 to hear this before you bring them up here. Number 10, I got A.J. Brown. I don't give a shit what people say about Tyreek Hill. I don't want to see it anymore. Tyreek Hill's not playing better ball than A.J. Brown. He is just not. He's not playing better ball. Number 9, I got Goff. You know, the Lions are probably going to battle the Eagles for home field advantage. I got Purdy 8, Lawrence 7, Allen 6, Burrow 5, Tua 4, Lamar Jackson 3, Hurts 2, and Mahomes 1. This is for the MVP. You got Hurts at 2 with 11 turnovers. That shows you how strong he's played the last month. Okay? That means he's turning this thing around. Big day today, man. Tone at 3:30, Angelo Cataldi at 4:30, and now we bring our friend in, the voice of the Eagle fans. It is Philly.
What's up?
How you doing, brother?
I'm great, man. Wow, I get to follow Angelo Cataldi. You got to be kidding me. I remember doing a paper route 3 a.m, listening to him. Yeah, I remember those days. Wow, that's awesome, man. How are you?
All good, my brother. How you feeling after a big win against Dallas?
I feel great. I love it. This is going to be a great bye week. You get to sit back and watch the Cowboys cry. I've never seen such delusion in a fan base more than the Dallas Cowboys. It's really pissed me off, kind of, to be honest with you. You would think that Dak Prescott won the game. You would think the Dallas Cowboys won by the way all the talking heads have been talking about the posts on Twitter. I think that it's kind of been disrespectful because I think Jalen Hurts getting hurt to the point where he's dragging himself across the field, can barely get on the field, to stay in that game and play the way he did. I thought that was one of the ultimate gut-out performances that you'll see. And instead of talking about that, to talk about Dak Prescott.
Or how about this one today?
Get the job done.
How about this one too today, Philly? So Micah Parsons went on his show today, and he does a show like you and I, and he went on his show going like this: we feel even more confident today than we did prior to the Eagle game. And I'm like this: so you're taking victory laps for getting your ass kicked?
Yeah.
Didn't they do the same shit after the 49ers pounded him by 32? I'm like, I've never seen a more delusional locker room. Now, how about this? Not fan base, locker room.
Right. Well, I always consider, like when I do videos and stuff, I'll put Cowboys are delusional, not Cowboy fans, because I consider them one brain. Because whatever the fans think, it's like the team thinks the same thing. To me, I just can't believe how this thing has been turned upside down. To me, when you look at that game, 10 minutes of the fourth quarter were like inside our 20, and Dak Prescott could not get it in. He could not score the touchdown. When it mattered the most, he came up small. That's how I see, Dak Prescott, a
No, no,
guy
no.
that
I
can't win big
look.
games.
He didn't have the numbers, Philly, that that Dak had, but it's here's the conversation that I lay out. It's to me, it's the same kind of conversation that people sometimes get confused on in the Super Bowl. Well, Jalen had more passing yards than Mahomes.
Right.
Yeah, but Mahomes made the critical plays in the critical
Right.
moments. He had more
Right.
critical plays. I thought Jalen outplayed Dak by a ton
Me too.
because he made the critical plays in critical moments.
I mean, just the way he came out in that third quarter, they're down 17-14. You didn't even know if he was going to play in the second half. And to come out and then have those 2 drives with the great pass of Devontae. Man, I just thought he put the team on his back and said, I'm going to will this. We're going to get this thing done right now. And I actually think the Eagles once again took their foot off the gas with Dallas and let them back in the game. It didn't even need to be that close.
Are you concerned about the secondary?
Yes, of course. You have to be concerned about the secondary if you watch the way they've played. Now, I do have some hope. Okay, I do have some hope. If you remember when we talked before the season, one of the things we both kind of agreed on was we thought the offense would carry us early and the defense would come on later in the year. I'm hoping for that to happen. I'm hoping with Bayard still adjusting, with getting Roby back, and then hopefully the coaches, because this is the most important thing. It's not the personnel to me as much as it's the scheme. They've got to make some adjustments on that scheme.
I would say this to you. I don't think that secondary is going to get better. How the defense can get better and help the secondary is more blitzing and getting
Yes.
home more because your talent is in your front four now. It's not in your back end any longer.
Right.
So to me, I think it's got to come from the front four because Philly, think of this. Last year, I mean, look, you're still in the top 10 in sacks, but what's different? It's the volume of pressure that's down.
Right.
Because last year you were on a historic pace. Instead of getting 10 pressures, this year you're getting 4 pressures or 5 pressures. That is cut in half, which leads to bigger routes being developed in the secondary, which leads to bigger plays in wider open zones. That's
Right.
why you're seeing the secondary kind of get exposed a little bit. The injury to Dallas Goedert is what?
It's it sucks, but it's only 4 weeks. I mean, I thought it was going to be the whole year when you saw it on the field. So I don't want to say we caught a break because that's a bad choice of
No,
words.
you're right. Breaking
but
an arm versus blowing out a shoulder is a break.
But the fact that we're talking about getting him back after 4 weeks, I think we could survive that. I think we got enough guys to get through that. I really want to see how they use Julio Jones on passing downs. I think you need to get him a little more involved in the offense. Hopefully Stahl and those guys can block. They got the kid from Denver. I can't remember his name, but hopefully they'll use him more too. I think they'll survive with Goddard out for 4 weeks. I think we'll
How
be all
about
right.
this now? I brought this up earlier. And again, watch this. I want everyone to know this. You and I believe, and I know Tone does, we love Goddard's ability. We love the player he is. We love the nose he has for the end zone. He's tremendous talent when it comes to blocking. Top 5 guy. He's missed 21 ball games and never played a full season but one his rookie year in his entire career. Isn't it time now for Howie not to replace him? I'm not looking to replace him, but you got to address that position in the draft because the guys you currently have there now, you're light. If look at right now, when he's out, you're talking about going to Julio Jones now. You're not even talking about going to another guy who's functionally able to hold it down. You're going to go to Swift, maybe Julio. But do you start doing what they did a couple of years ago when they had Zach Ertz and they ended up getting him and start the process of maybe trying to find that replacement?
I think if the opportunity presents itself mid to late draft,
look, I'm not talking first or second round. I'm talking 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I will say that, early in Zach Ertz's career too, he was hurt every year. This was a big thing for him. Like, can Ertz stay healthy? And eventually he got it going. So I hope for Goddard that he'll be able to stay healthy at some point. But I'm just glad he's coming back after 4 weeks. We will be fine. We will manage.
Do you think they're becoming too dependent on AJ?
No, I think sometimes when a guy's playing on the level that he's playing, you just gotta you gotta feed him, man. I think if this guy's playing on the level that he is, you had him what 10th as an MVP as a wide receiver,
Yeah.
right? I mean, you have to feed him. I think a guy like Devontae Smith, and he kind of even said it, like when a guy's playing on that level, you gotta go with it. You do. So I don't think so.
Angelo Cadaldi called him the greatest wide receiver in Eagle history.
Mm. Well, see, I will say this. It's very hard because I think of Tommy McDonald, and I was not around back then, right? So I can't say, but that's my guy, my dad's guy. But if you look at from my point of view of all the receivers I have seen, I think that he's probably right because Terrell Owens wasn't there long enough to really, you know, carry. He had
Okay,
a
well,
great
then is he
first
the
year,
greatest talent that's ever played at the wide receiver position in Philly?
yeah, probably him or To would be them two.
Right.
Yeah,
I just love
yeah,
the way to me, the reason I like him over Tyreek Hill, Philly, is because once he catches the ball, the job's not done.
right,
I mean, how many wide receivers you see that like Tyreek Hill looks for a spot on the ground? This
right,
guy looks for a spot on your chest.
yeah. Yeah, well, he could beat you downfield. He could catch the ball with 3 yards and turn it and make it 15 yards. He could break tackles. He could run over you. Tyreek Hill is all about speed, man. If you get your hands on him and frustrate him, he's a different player. So I agree with you. He's more complete.
The injury to Hurts. It's week 9. You're in the middle of the year. He's hurt earlier now than he was last year. He's never been able to finish a full season.
Hmm.
Is it the lack of having a big time back there? And I'm talking about a guy like, as crazy as this is going to sound, and I don't think Sanders is a big time back, but Philly, he did have 1,300 yards rushing and 11 touchdowns.
Right.
That's not been replaced.
No, no. And I think that's by design though. Like I think that has to do with how the Eagles choose to use these running backs. You can't tell me that you can't give DeAndre Swift a little more carries or you can't bring Rashad Penny up there. They have Boston Scott for what? They don't even use him. So I think that's a coaching situation more than not having Miles Sanders.
What's what's the point of going for a pass down the field on 3rd and 3 in the 4th? And I'll say this to you. You're basically almost handed the ball game to him.
Yeah, that was stupid. I don't know. That I was very shocked that they did that, and it almost cost us. I yeah, I have no idea what they were thinking on that 3rd and 3.
Are you
I don't know.
concerned with I mean, like Angelo says too, the coaching. Is it still as we're here? What's this? I think being 8-1, I think it's remarkable how great that is. And by the way, 22 of 26 is
Right.
insane great. 20,
Yeah.
how about this number? 27 weeks in a row. The Eagles have had the best record in the NFL regular season wise.
Yeah.
That's freaking like college stuff.
I
Like you're
know, it's
talking
crazy.
Georgia Bulldog stuff, like college. That's what you kind of conversation you have. It's insane. Do you feel more comfortable with the way they're winning games this year, or did you feel more comfortable with the way that they were winning games last year?
See, that's an interesting uh, question because last year, if you remember, we jumped out in the first half of these games. We were up big, right? And that's another reason why you got so many sacks in the fourth quarter because teams were always having to throw. But it seemed like at the end of those games, the teams we always let them back in, and you had to hold your breath. And this year, you're winning games close, and it's close throughout the whole game. I would say, in a weird way, I like the way they're winning now more because I
Why?
feel like I feel like they're battle tested. They're not going to panic if they're down 3 at halftime. They're not going to panic being down 4 in the fourth quarter. Last year, I think things were easy early on and then got dicey as the game went by. So I would say I actually feel a little more comfortable with them now.
Would you
This
agree James Bradbury's been the biggest disappointment on the football team this year?
Yeah. Yeah, James Bradbury has not looked good at all. It really, It really surprised me because I thought it would be the opposite. I actually thought Bradbury would be better and Slay would be the guy that's kind of flaming out. But no, it's true.
And here, it comes off sometimes like I'm piling on, but if you keep putting him out there, I'm going to pile on. Nakobe Dean can't play in this league at Mike. He can't.
I knew that was coming.
Hey,
I knew it was
he
coming.
can't play Mike in
Right.
this league. Now he's hurt again.
He's hurt again. Yeah, he's hurt again. And actually, I didn't think they should have put him back in the starting role to begin with because Morrow was playing pretty good. And Cunningham, I thought they were playing actually pretty good. So this actually, because he's not played well, it actually may help them in their linebacking unit.
What do you want them? Couple last questions here. What do you want them to work on the most in this bye? By the way, don't you think too, Philly? Think about it. Since February, these guys have played intense football. They must be mentally just exhausted from
Right.
the amount of ball that they've played. That probably the bye's in the right spot, right time, health, mental. The team's off. But what do you want them to isolate on the most as they go into the second half of the season here?
I think for me, I would say that I want to get Seth Joyner and lock him in a closet with our defensive coordinator because I think you have to change the scheme. The scheme is killing us. I mean, did they even blitz Dak Prescott in the last game? It makes no sense to me. And I think the one thing I want to see them change is I want to see them adjust their scheme on defense. I'm not saying you have to completely revamp it, but you've got to do a better job of knowing when to bring pressure or having a feel for the game. You can't just allow a guy to go out there and throw 80% against you. You can't do it. At some point, you have to bring pressure. You have to take chances. And to me, that's the biggest issue. Offensively, I would like to see them figure a way to kind of phase Gainwell out. I hate to say it, especially in the red zone, and maybe give Penny a chance to run a little more with Swift. I think their red zone has to be better offensively. Those would be the two areas.
I didn't know you guys added a new cheerleader to your cheerleading cheer squad. You see Howie running down the sideline there, going, "Hey,
Yeah.
look, it's my team," and
Yeah.
he likes to be seen a little bit out there, doesn't he?
Howie Roseman's like Tony Soprano. You know what I'm saying? Like he's Tony Soprano. Nick Sirianni's like Uncle
Wait a minute,
Junior.
he's like Tony Soprano at the Bada
Yeah.
Bing.
Yeah. Remember when in Sopranos where Tony lets Uncle Junior think he's running the show,
Yes.
but he's really running. Everybody thinks Nick Sirianni's the coach and running. It's Howie Roseman. Howie runs the whole show, man.
Holy cow,
That's
Nick Sirianni is Junior Soprano. Wait a minute. He's Junior Soprano.
Yeah, that's right.
Ah.
That's right.
Hey, dude, how about today, too, man? Someone asked him a question. Hey, what about the run game? You happy with it? And Tony Soprano, Sirianni goes like this. Yeah, I love it. Come on. Why are you laughing?
You have to keep it in the family. They're not going to say anything publicly, but they've got to talk about these things. I would assume. I just can't imagine you sit there and go, "Oh, we let Dak Prescott almost go down there and score on us." I can't imagine that they're not going to make any adjustments. I got to think they will. I just don't know what they will be. We'll see.
I got to ask you last question here. Carson Wentz to the Rams.
Yeah. Oh, Carson.
Yeah. I don't even that. What is that?
I don't know. It's like here we go again.
Was it a success to you? His time in Philly.
You have to say yes because he won a Super Bowl, right? I mean, he won a Super Bowl. But here's the thing. Honestly, if you look back at it now, if he doesn't get hurt, I don't think they win. Because
Angelo said he doesn't feel he wins the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I agree with him because I don't think he had the stones or the mental makeup to do that. And actually him getting hurt and putting Foles in there was why we won. I wouldn't have said that a few years ago, but after everything that we've seen with Carson and it happened, I really think that's true.
You know what? I never thought this, but listen how crazy that 17 season was. Personally, I don't know if you agree with me, but not a chance in hell Nick Foles wins home field advantage if he plays
No.
himself. But Carson Wentz doesn't win the Super Bowl if he's in that game against Brady.
Right.
How crazy is that? That dynamic is that big of a swing.
Yeah. It really feels like that was just destiny that year, because everything fell into place. None of us knew at the time, but I really agree. I don't think Foles would make it through the season to get home field, and I don't think Carson plays the way Nick Foles played in the Super Bowl.
Man,
I agree.
Can you imagine that? So I do too, man. I look at it the same way. He had a nuclear meltdown and all of that. You know, he did. He had a nuclear meltdown, but we'll see how this thing plays out.
Tony Soprano had to whack him though. He had to whack.
Yeah,
he had to whack Carson Wentz, didn't he? He whacked.
Yeah, you know, he had to whack Phil too. You know, Phil.
Yeah.
He had to shoot him. Somebody had to shoot him in the head because Phil was talking too much shit. Get off my stoop.
That's
Remember
right.
that? He goes, "Hey, I had to eat cheese sandwiches off a radiator."
Yeah, I remember. Great show.
Philly, tell folks where they can find you, my good friend.
Just type in Philly.500. I'm sitting there every day putting videos out, sick, healthy, whenever they come out. So that's it.
You got it, brother.
I'm
Thank
here.
you so much.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you having me on.
You got it. That's my friend,
Bye.
Philly.500. We so appreciate him doing this for us, as he always does. Please hit the like button. Keep it here on the National Football Show.
Football and Hooters, the perfect pair.